Equity is the only finance for startups which have big ambitions. After the wall came down, the IBB Bank was created, and we had a very high unemployment rate in Berlin because the whole industry in East Berlin collapsed. IBB Ventures is a 100% subsidiary of IBB Bank, and we are a team of 18 people and are currently managing 80 startups in Berlin. We are investing in early stage companies which are presenting to us a business plan, but they don't have a running business. So we are helping them to start with their business activities and to become a real company.
IBB Ventures is a venture capital company. We are managing venture capital funds on behalf of the Senate of Berlin and the IBB. We had our first venture capital fund that was co-funded by ERDF in 2004. It had a rather small volume of 20 million euros and started in the middle of the planning period, so it was a kind of a test balloon, so to say.
In the beginning, when we started the revolving instruments, it was really by the scratch. What we did is we used one ERDF euro and combined it with €1 from the bank, and by that we implemented the first revolving instrument with venture capital and with a loan venture fund. And at that time I think we were really pioneers using ERDF money for these funds and to give venture capital or loans to small and medium-sized enterprises in Berlin. Berlin was, as we say, poor but sexy. By this we became very attractive to new startups and to innovative startups because we could give them at least venture capital and loans which were flowing back to the instruments we had and to the funds.
The next generation of VC funds were much bigger. They had a volume of 80 million euros, and we split the funds into two parts. One fund is focused on high-tech companies from Berlin, and the other fund is focused on companies from the creative sector. And this fund generation of 80 millions ended in 2015, and in the same year we started with our third fund generation, and this generation had a volume of 100 million euros, and we are currently investing out of these funds. IBB Ventures is an early stage investor, so we invest in the seed and startup phase in Berlin-based startups. When we do our first investment, these companies are typically rather small, so revenues, yearly revenues between 0 and 1 million euro, and a typical company has less than 10 employees when we first invest. And as we always invest together with private investors like venture capitalists or business angels, the volume that is mobilized for the startups is much higher. We invest per year in maybe 10 to 12 new companies, but to find these 10 to 12 new companies, but we have to screen around about 300 to 400 opportunities or applicants. Especially in the early phases of the company, we can give a lot of support because we have experiences from scaling so many companies in the past, and we have an excellent network, especially here in the Berlin startup ecosystem. We have invested in more than 140 companies out of these ERDF co-financed VC funds, and our portfolio, most of these companies are still in our portfolio. Over the last years we have seen many successful exits from the older cases. One most recent exit from this year was SofaTutor. SofaTutor was a company we invested in more than 10 years ago. The plan was to build a platform for pupils to do remote learning by having videos of the different topics that are taught in the German schools, in math, in biology and all the other subjects. And now in 2021 and 2020, due to Corona, this was something that had a great demand for this kind of additional teaching, of remote learning. And they have over 1 million pupils on the platform, more than 10,000 schools that are using Sofa Tutor. And for us, it was the time to sell our shares in the companies to a later stage investor. So the company now has a partner who can help them with internationalization and with further growth. And for us, it was a very attractive exit, and we can now use this money that returned to our funds for the next fund generation and finance the next successful startups.